Fantastic to be back on a Wednesday evening with one of the West London VR WahooRGT races, 7.4 Series 7, race number 4 on one of our favourite courses, the Hillingdon Honey. It's got those two small hills, a valley in the middle, and it has made some great races in the past. Let's have a look at the profile, shall we? Stage 4. Thanks very much to ZMS for these great graphics. You can see we're just north of Heathrow Airport there. This is basically Uxbridge, if you know. Then we go up Hillingdon Hill there, and it weaves its way up Hillingdon Hill, then takes a sharp left into Vine Lane there. Now that's flat at the beginning, but then there's a sudden drop down here to the River Pin. You can see the River Pin on there, and when it gets to just there, it starts going up again. Now that's Honeycroft Hill, so the Hillingdon Honey is named after Hillingdon Hill on the left, and Honeycroft Hill in the top right, with the valley in between. The Hillingdon Honey, 16.4 kilometres, it's 4 laps, remember that, 4 laps, so it's basically 8 small climbs, and this is where we expect to see the attacks. As I say, been some great races on that course in the past, and we hope today stands up to that expectation just as well as it has in the past. Now, in actual fact, it's a glorious evening here in West London, so I'm sure many riders have been tempted to go outside on their bike because it really is nice. We don't get too many of these evenings out our way. But hopefully the contenders will be here. Yep, Snaver just on the heels there of Alistair McAlpine from Glasgow United. Jan van Oudenaarde in third place, all on 280 points. Bert Soderberg for OTR in third. Rob Miller from R3R and Sam Josh all in the reckoning there. And even Grant Webb, Ben Van Mount, all in the reckoning, down to Mike Wareham, etc. Wouter Clays all the way back in 11th place, but he has missed the race. I believe Mark Rowbottom is going to miss tonight's race as well. So there's points up for grabs, and I think some of the other riders will see this as an opportunity to gain ground. Looking at David Buckley there in 13th, could do very nicely to get himself into the top 10, a previous winner of the series, one of the very early winners. But Alistair McAlpine in the lead top. And his team, Glasgow United, beating RAR Speedwagon, who are actually in second ahead of the main RAR R3R team, in fifth, in between Team Sands, the South African New Zealanders, and Moonriders. 20 seconds to the start. Mark Christie, Chantal Mendes, Eileen Davidson is ill. She won't be riding tonight, so plenty to play for in the Ladies' League. 11 seconds to the start, and a nice healthy lineup on the start line. 5 seconds, it's going to go like mad. Any second now, everybody lit up. There's a couple of avatars there that were silhouetted, suggesting somebody wasn't pedalling. Alistair McAlpine straight off the front. Stevie Cooper, his teammate, up there. And it's Casper Hederdum that is leading them out. Now, this is standard practice because you can thin this out quite quickly. If somebody doesn't really react on the start, this tearing away can break it all down. Johan Olofsky just chasing down. Johan does this a lot. He likes to go on the front. I don't know if he likes to go on the front, but he does it a lot anyway. Which probably, and we look at who's up there. Marcin Marasek, Stevie Cooper, the Bears. Who we got? Josh, Johan Olofsky, Alistair McAlpine. People you'd expect to see up there. James Melville, of course. T. Jimmy. and C. Jones, all names that have, and the Cesson as well. So these are the names you'd expect to be in this group. So it's fairly, I say fairly predictable. I don't like to use that word because somebody good will get left behind, and somebody will have just got it right today and got in a group that they're not used to being in and having the time of their lives, seeing how long they can stay with these fast guys. Jono obviously putting the pressure on at the moment from South Africa, New Zealand. Marion Marisek back in 13th. We can see Jimmy and Lord Cesson. Rob Miller from R3R in there, Oystenson as well. So it's a pretty star-studded group out the front here. Not sure how many making up this group, but it's a bit early to tell. We've done over a kilometre now. 18 probably in that front group. So that's the split. We're looking at 18. Stevie Cooper, the 18th man in there for Glasgow United. So 18 have got away. At 19th, Gordon Jackson from up there in Lancaster and Northern England. Castro just overtaking him there. Gordon Jackson riding for OTR, of course, in that familiar white jersey with the black sleeves and the green stuff. Mind you, he's being caught by a couple of R3R riders, and Jep Snaver is not in the main group. Now, Jep Snaver was in second place, and he hasn't made the first cut. He's being led back by Ostergaard. This is teamwork. Jep's losing a bit of ground on his teammate. That's not good. This is going to be a bit of a problem, and this could open up the top 10. And with some riders potentially missing, this is a great opportunity for people around him. And the team not sticking together there. Anders Ostergaard going off solo, not guiding Jep Snaver back into the group. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Jep Snaver now just caught up by S-Fan, and we'll have to see how this one plays out. He's having to work hard. Probably not going to make it back into that group. Gordon Jackson, as we've seen there. Gautam Thacker in there for West London. Laumo, the Frenchman, in there as well in the pink journey, just sitting on Gautam's wheel. We've got Holton in there, Moon Riders. And, Laumo, the French rider. Carl Dickinson from the South Africa, New Zealand in there. Andrew Kajewski all the way back in 31st. He's obviously slipped up a little bit on the start. So David Buckley in 32nd at Laume, as we say there in the pink jersey, very appropriate. They go through the halfway barrier, but remember this is only halfway in that lap. So Casper headed him off the front now. He's got quite a gap now, 37 metres. A bit early in the race to do this. He's obviously got that over that first Hillingdon Hill, I would imagine. And he's on the downward slope before we go up Honeycroft Hill. So interesting to see him. He's obviously made that count in the first lap, but I get the impression that gap's coming down a little bit. It's 29 now. Wouter Clays is one of the people chasing down. I'll say that. It's Jan van Oldenhout. So it's a Belgian chase back. No Pins RER, the RER team, and Moon Riders. Wouter Clays, the current reigning champion, and they have caught Casper Hederdum. So we've got a trio up front now. Small gap back to fourth place, but not a lot. So will these three work together? The gap's not very far, and the peloton is going to claw them back. But that peloton's looking like less than 18 riders now. So the effect is in that. Just look how many R3R riders are in that group. It's a bit ragged at the moment, but I think that will come together. Maybe not on the climb. Be interesting to see. If the R3R riders got black helmets, they're R3R. If they've got orange helmets, they're R3R Speedwagon. It only just dawned on me the other day that R3R Speedwagon is, of course, derived from REO Speedwagon, a group from, I think, back in the 1980s, if I remember. Webb and Melville in this group, but it's down to 15 riders. The two Glasgow United riders, or two of the Glasgow United riders, sitting on the back there. That's Stevie Cooper and Jones now off the back is and Ostergaard, who was out the front early on, has also dropped off back in 18th behind Craig Jones. And this is what happens. I mean, once you get dropped, you're in a bit of trouble. So Ostergaard was no, he wasn't dropped, was he? He was the one that was ahead of. Correct myself. He was head, of course, Jep Snaver, wasn't he? So that's confusing myself. He's actually trying to claw back ground, but he's caught Craig Jones. So actually, Steve Fan is the Irish rider in there. Sorry, not Irish, German rider that's in the middle of these three. So Ostergaard, I don't think as Ostergaard is going to get back in, is going to get into that group ahead. I think Jep Snever looks like he's not even in the next few riders. So whether he's sitting in a group or not, I don't know. 20th, we've got Gordon Jackson leading T Jimmy, and Baume, Castro, Jones, Holton, Norwegian, Vermont, another Moon Riders Belgian rider, back in 27th, just ahead of Gopa Thacker from Ickenham, riding for West London, ahead of Andrew Kuczewski, the Polish rider from, I say he's from Poland, of course, but living in Manchester. Not sure who's quite behind this lot, but there must be another group behind, because I think some of the lady riders we've not seen yet. David Buckley back in 31st, and he'd be a bit disappointed with that. He's having a good season. I mentioned him at the beginning, lurking just behind the top 10, but in some ways this will cost David Buckley not being in that front group, but on other levels there will be missing riders. Lavelle, Lafitte, Sean Lavelle, Lafitte, Walker, Brett Smith at 35th, riding for West London, Caruso in 37th, just behind Medina, the Spaniard, and Andy Evans in 38th, also riding for West London. There's Brett Smith. But he's probably been off the bike for a fortnight, because I know he's been away on business. Caruso, Mediar, we'll probably be expecting to be a little bit higher than 37th, but nevertheless, when you're solo, every pedal stroke is going to hurt now. And he's ahead of Andy Evans, as I say. Harry Smits, Gannon behind, Maria Witsky and Jessica, the only two lady riders by the looks of things. And they are both riding for West London, which will help the West London ladies team in the ladies competition. Baz Mystery at 41st and 42nd Gilmore. There's Maria. She's just ahead of Canada, who is a regular rider, as they complete the first lap. So that's probably where we're at the moment. We're up to 45, I think, riders in the race. As Jessica Wright. Elio seems to have dropped off, so that's disappointing for him. So Jessica probably in the last position. She won't mind that. She's used to it. 43rd, and obviously it's going to be quite hard today, because given the sunshine here in the south of England, I know she's up in Manchester, but if it's anything like this, it's going to be quite hot, sweaty evening on a turbo trainer. So well done everybody in Britain for turning up. I don't know what the weather conditions are like elsewhere. I'm sure that Ruitsky in Puerto Rico has probably even got it hotter, but he's probably a bit more acclimatised to it. And I'm told that the producer is absolutely roasting in the studio. He is further south in the UK than me. There's the picture. He's waving. He's probably using his hand as a fan just to make the air sort of move. There we are. Look, see, it's not waving at us at all. What a great setup, though. That's a ZMS studio. And rare peek into that. It looks quite professional and spectacular, doesn't it? And I wish I had a screen that big. The commentary would be better, I assure you. Anyway, Casper Hedenham has been out front for a long time. Rob Miller now in second place is the man behind. Josh, Alistair McAlpine and Oystenson leading the chase back. But I wonder if Casper's sort of just pushed this a little bit too much and perhaps, put too much in early in the race. I mean, they're not even halfway yet. 6.8 kilometres. Rob Miller taking a turn on the front. Now, these are orange helmets. You see with the two R3R riders there, the sky blue top, red stripe in the middle and black at the bottom of their jerseys. They got orange. If they've got orange helmets on, it's R3R Speedwagon. Evan Oystenson there, R3R, riding for the R3R Speedwagon. Now, if you see the same jersey with a black helmet, they're riding for R3R. But it's the Speedwagon that is dominating the series, isn't it? So Glasgow United, Wouter Clay is off the front now. He's given a little bit of a dig, probably trying to lose some riders. Wouter, he's a serial champion at these series. He's missed a race though this time, so he's a little bit behind the standings. But never count this guy out. He's an absolute legend in West London VR, and he's just demonstrating to us right now why he's that legend. He's pulling away, but he's pulling towards Casper Hedenham, Will the two of them work together? Wouter makes up that gap. Casper gets out of his seat, gives it a little nudge, but Wouter's by him. Will Casper get onto his wheel? That's the thing you should do. There's a little bit of a gap, but I don't think Casper's going to let that go. The amount of work he's done, but the peloton's catching up in the shape of Alistair McAlpine now. Now there's three of them with a nice 30-metre gap or more back to Johan Orlovsky. Now Johan likes to go off the front, and he won't let this get away if he can, and he will push hard, and the peloton, to the extent it can, will follow. Alistair McAlpine now leading the series. This would be a fantastic victory if he could get the series. Glasgow United almost ever present in these races over the years, and between him and James Melville, they have lit up loads and loads of races, and it would be great to see one of them win the championship. We don't have preferences, but I don't think anybody would begrudge either of those two riders winning it. And Alistair is well in the reckoning this series, and he's making sure that he's up there with the big guns, as this trio have now got 48 metres on the others, and we're halfway. Now, if they can work together, Rob Miller's looking like he's struggling to get back onto that little group. 14th, though. Look how it thins out. Less and less riders in contention. This is what the breakaway does. Even if the breakaway doesn't succeed, it drops riders. As Van Beurs, the Ratio riders, as Ingmar, there's more than one Van Beurs, but they're brothers, I believe, or certainly related anyway. Well, Van Beurs is 15th and struggling to keep on. This is the effect it has. 74 metres they've got now. This could be decisive. I know we're only just over halfway with 7.5 kilometres to go, or just under that. But this could be decisive. And the three riders we've got here are top quality. So this is hovering around 80 kilometres gap now. If they can make this stick. Now, it relies on somebody in the peloton going off the front and making an effort and maybe sacrificing themselves. Maybe something that an R3R rider might want to do it. And it is an R3R rider. It's one of the R3R team, not the Speedwagon ones, though. Look at the black helmet. It's Jan van Oudenhout. And he is sprinting away now. He's just got 30 metres on the others and cut that down to about 60 metres to the guys in front. Now, that's got a long slog to get up there, but nobody seems to be following him. Absolutely stunning riding. You can see the riders ahead just in the distance there. This is a brave move. He's not really closing, though. He's a bit strung out in no man's land at the moment. He's still got 50 metres to the others and 30 metres back. He's dangling. They're making him dangle. He's gone out to Wouter Clays. Looks like he's might be slipping off that group. Maybe not. He's Alistair McAlpine pushing off the front. And Jan Vanna has, I think, burnt there and allows Veros to go by. Another R3R rider. Alistair McAlpine is making them pay at the front, though. Casper Hedenham is stuck with him. Wouter Clays, a little bit of a gap. Is Wouter in trouble? No, he pulls it back. Sits on the wheel, goes past Casper maybe, and just demonstrates, no, you didn't tire me out. I've still got plenty in the tank. So he takes his turn on the front. They've got 130 metres on the riders behind, and I think James Melville leading the chase. Now that's interesting because James is on the same team as Alistair, and might not be a natural choice. If we were sitting there with the team orders, they might be saying to James, no, you don't lead everybody back because Alistair needs the points. But of course, riders will be riders, and this isn't, they might be on the same team, but this is not all sort of managed by a director sportif in the way that perhaps a Grand Tour team would be, and so it doesn't quite work like that. Cesson in that Savoy blue of Italy is now leading the chase back. James Melville just making sure that he stays on the wheel. Interesting, Cesson going over to the side there, using the steering on WahooRGT. Marino now allows James Melville to sit on his wheel. They've got 17 metres on Josh, and Jan van Oudenhout is drifting back with the crowd behind. Will they make up the gap? I think it's going to come together. But look how thin the group is. We're down to about a dozen riders now. And still you see the dominant R3R jerseys in there. All right, spirit across the two teams. Rob Miller's in there, looking strong. Even Ostenson's in there. Marian Marasek for Ratio Racing is in the black and orange there. And Stevie Cooper for Glasgow United. Glasgow United, 3 riders up in this group. I think Stevie's the last in the group, so he's 14th with 3 up front. So there's 11 in this group. Glasgow United have got 3. R3R have got 4. So you can see the dominant teams. These are the 2 teams chasing the title. Now, the way the team championship works is your best 2 riders' points go to the team. So you can actually work as a team here and get riders over. You can sacrifice yourself. As long as your first 2 riders get good points, that's what's going to count towards the team. And both teams here now with more than 2 riders, so some good team points for both teams. Casper Hedenham, who spent so much time on the top, is seeing a little bit of a gap evolve between him and the other 2, but he pulls it back safely on the wheels of Outer Glaze as Alistair McAlpine takes the front. There are just coming up to the end of this lap now, and they will be on the last lap, and they will then be going up Hillingdon Hill. Now, if you look at the bottom, this is Alistair McAlpine pushing on. I don't think the other 2 will let him get too far ahead. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you see the long green line. The blue digit on the far right is the riders we're following. So that's Alistair, the blue one. All the other little white triangles are other riders or groups of riders. You can see the terrain. They're just coming to the end of this lap, and it will go across the screen and start again on the left. And you'll see that the brown sections, or the sort of orangey brown sections, are where the ride goes uphill. So there's a main one on the left, that's Hillingdon Hill, and the main one on the right is, of course, Honeycroft Hill. Evan Oystenson now is in 4th place at the front of this clutch of riders, including 3 R3R Speedwagon riders and, interestingly, 1 R3R rider in Rob Miller. Oh, sorry, Rob Miller's with Speedwagon, and I'll take that back. Marino Cesson in there, Ingmar van Beurs. It's quite a stellar lineup in that back group, but they are now over 270 metres behind the front 3, and they are not going to catch on the last lap. The front 3 now heading for Hillingdon Hill, and once they're over that, I think if the gap's at 270 metres, you can just assume that podium will be made up in that front group, but we'll get an interesting battle back here. Jan van Beurs in 13th in there. Remember, we've got Ingmar and Jan in this. Ratio Racing represented there with 2 riders, which I didn't mention earlier, did I? So you can see the strong teams very well represented in this group, and you always look out for riders from OTR, Moon Riders, and the ones that we've been mentioning here. Team ADR, Marino Cesson, don't do too badly either. Now, ignore the ZMS bot in there, because that's how we film it. That's one of the bots that does the filming. And we overtake another one of the ZMS cameras. Now, because this is 4 laps, we will be lapping riders. So keep your eyes on the ones that count. And in this instance, it's these 3. 3 kilometres to go. They're on Hillingdon Hill at the moment. The gradient's only 1.5%. It's not a steep hill. It never is. It's quite easy to ride up in real life too. In fact, neither of these climbs would be perceived as difficult for anybody participating in one of these races. The idea is, though, they just put enough pressure on to allow for attacks, and that's what they're chosen for. As I say, this race has produced some great attacks in the past, and this one, actually, it's down to 150 metres, and I think that's probably because they're going up the hill, and the others are on the shallower part of it. Or were at the bottom. So I'd expect that gap to go out a little bit. We'll see what happens. But they're well clear. They're on the top of Hillingdon Hill at the moment, the leaders. Marino Cesson, this 14th position, has held. So the second group on the road has not split at all in this. Rob Miller currently 14th, but I don't think he'll be there forever. Ingmar van Beurs has dropped out, so... unfortunately, only one of the Van Beurs up in the top group. Grant Webb there in 16th. Craig Jones in 18th. I'm not sure who's in 17th. Oh, Stefan, the German rider. Vermont, Lau May, the French rider, making up Vermont riding for Moon Riders, one of the great clubs I told you about. Carl Dickerson from South Africa, New Zealand. Between him and Johan Orlofsky, they put in a great performance most races. Gordon Jackson from Lancaster, just behind Carl Dickerson there. Gordon riding for OTR, of course. As we look at these 3 again, 1.9, they're under 2 kilometres to go. They just passed the halfway banner on the last lap. It's Honeycroft Hill up to the finish, and they swing around. It's very slightly downhill to the finish, but it's not quite a hilltop finish. It's an odd one, but it is what it is. I kind of like the idea that you get over the hill and you've got this sort of still got a sprint to go. So that's why the start and finishing line is where it is. These three comfortably ahead, 161 metres, not as big as it was, but it's not going to get caught, I think, in the last 1.5 kilometres. That would mean that the riders behind had to ride at least 10% harder than these riders, or faster than these riders, to catch them on the line. So podium, you're looking at the podium, subject to anybody getting a drop out, and it happens. Mechanicals and part and parcel of the course. People moan about them, but then again, real life racing has mechanicals, it has punctures, and as they go down Honey Hill, which is confusing because you've got Honey Hill coming down and then Honeycroft Hill going up. But these three now sitting there, probably not playing cat and mouse. I think they all understand how the course is. They've had 3 laps to learn it, and all 3 of these riders have been around in these series for a long time, so they will know this course. I wouldn't say intimately, but they would have done it lots and lots of times. So we're on Honeycroft Hill now, and this is where you're going to attack. They're just on the steepest part of it. There's more to come. Alistair McAlpine clearly going for it there. Wouter Clays looks to close that down, moves over using the steering to get in the slipstream, but nobody's in the tight slipstream. Alistair McAlpine has got a gap, but I'm not sure it's enough. Wouter Clays doesn't look like he's beaten, and neither does Casper. They're getting close to the finishing line. One more little ramp. Alistair now just pulling out a gap. Alistair's going to do it, I think. He's got over the toughest part. It's downhill to the finish. But Casper's got other ideas. Casper looking strong. He's closing that gap. They've got 500 metres to go. Casper ahead of them could still do this. I don't think Alistair has got this in the game. He's got over the hill, which you would think was great. But I think that 20 metres that Casper has got to make up is doable. And it looks like he's closing it. It's down to 15 with 300 metres to go. And you can see that the course is running out. Can Alistair hold on? Oh no, it's 9. I think Casper looks like he's got it as we get ever closer to the finish line, as we go to the barriers, and you can see the finishing line. And how cruel is that? Casper ahead of them just takes it from Alistair. Wouter Clays does the decent thing, just lets them finish, lets them battle it out. Well, what a fantastic finish by Casper. But one has to feel sorry for Alistair, although I don't think he'll be too bothered, because that will be very good for the standings with Jep Snaver behind. Jan van Beurs getting in next, as we see flurry of these riders all sprinting it out on the line to get the places in the next 14. We'll get the results up in a moment. Ingmar, who was in that group for so long, is going to finish behind Rob Miller, and you can see Harry Smith's just in front of him, but Harry's still got a lap to go. Ingmar in 15th now with 400 metres to go. He's, I think, reasonably comfortable. He's 280 metres in front of Stefan, the German rider. Stefan, isn't it? I suppose, isn't it? Stefan. It's Stefan. So I think Ingmar's quite comfortable there. 300 metres. Craig Jones and Stefan and Grant Webb look like they've got a 3-way battle in the next position. So as we see Ingmar finish, there could be a good 3-way sprint coming up for 15th place. And Ingmar just taking the little downhill into, he can probably take that a lot easier than Alistair could. Now here we are, Stefan, Craig Jones and Grant Webb, trio now, 300 metres to go. How's this one going to battle? And it looks to me as if Grant and Craig are just sitting on the wheel, biding their time. I think Craig's looking to go with 200 to go. It's certainly sped up. There is a response from Stefan, though. It's Stefan and Grant as Craig drops back. Stefan looking strong, but has Grant got it in his legs? It's not quite enough. Stefan just taking that from Grant. Great sprint. Craig just settling for 18th position. A good haul of points anyway. Lau May, the French rider in pink, looking like he's leading the Giro, but it's a great finish. In fact, Lau will be quite pleased with that, I would imagine. Vermont is next. Moon Riders coming in 20th position, so that will be decent. Carl Dickerson, 21st, South Africa, New Zealand, Johan Olofs's friend and teammate, of course. 130 metres to go. He's got a clear gap on the next rider, Zaf. Holton further back, so these are comfortable positions. No great sprints coming up, I don't think, because I think everybody's a little bit spread out now. Saf in 23rd is 90 metres to go and can take it reasonably easy at 33 kph, knowing that nobody is going to do a Casper headed into him on the line. We have to. Holton now, the Norwegian, who's been pretty regular through this series and is becoming part of the fixture and part of the community, taking a well-earned 24th position. Great riding there from Holton. We start getting to the results up there. We can read out how they finished in the 14th. Copen Thakkar's got a bit of a battle on him. I think with, let's see who's got with him. Is that Jones? Oh, I didn't see which order they came in. I think Jones might have just got that. We'll have to have a look in a minute. Anyway, let's read out the results as Caruso, another one of the ADR riders, coming in 27th. So, 4th was Jorgen van Beurs. Jan van Oudenhout was 5th. Johan Alofsy from South Africa, New Zealand. Pippin Moreno, Cesson for 6th place. 7th. Then Sam Josh, Luca Verost, Stevie Cooper getting 10th. Glasgow United, very, very happy with 2 in the top 10 there. Marian Marasek gets 11th, and Andrew Kaczynski coming in 31st as we watch. Stevie Cooper, Marian Marasek. James Melville 12th, so 3 in the top 12 for Glasgow United. Evan Oystenson for R3R 13th. Rob Miller, another R3R rider, 14th. Ingmar van Beurs, Ratio Racing, as we saw, 15th. Stefan Grant Webb, jostling that one out. Stefan just pipping Grant in that sprint. Craig sitting up. Laumai, Dries Vermont for Moon Riders. Carl Dixon, Gordon Jackson and George Saff all coming in individually. Just waiting to see that Copen Thacker result as Medina comes in. Walker, another Scots rider at 31st. Great to see a great Scottish presence in here with the Glasgow United guys. And Walker taking 33rd, which is not a bad result. And La France coming in with Lafitte at 34th. Nice to see some French riders in here. Lavelle next. Copen Thacker just in 25th there, just behind Holton. So maybe he got that sprint. Brett Smith, I know I think he rode last night in our TTT team and has been away. So probably not his best result yet, but I think Brett will be quite happy just to be back on the turbo. 2 nights running when you've been away is probably a bit of an ask. So well done, Brett, for coming in there at, where are we, 36th. He's ahead of Andy Evans. Just having a look now at these. Ruben Medina at 32nd, Peter Andrew Walker, Thierry Lafitte, Sean Lavelle, in 35th. Darren Jones at 26th, Salvador Caruso 27th, Felix Castro just beating Jimmy, top Jimmy of course. We should remember that, shouldn't we? David Buckley at 30th, the as I always say every week, still here, has never ever missed one of these races. 7 series, 4th race. Absolutely amazing. We're up, that's over 80 races. So well done to David Buckley, 30th. He actually won the first series. Andy Evans then coming in for West London, and he works in Uxbridge where this course was. It's the second one we've had in Uxbridge. Having a look at the replay here, this was a great finish, wasn't it? And you look here with 160 metres, Alistair McAlpine has got that gap, but you can just see Casper's closing it, and it's a question of whether or not Alistair can hold on, but it already looks, with 50 metres to go, that Casper's got the strength to go by and does so. Both pushing out huge watts, but big riders anyway. Andy Evans, 37, from Bushy in Watford, Hertfordshire, has now got 390 metres to go. Andy got 76 metres on Gilmore. Harry Smith's Baz Mystery. Baz Mystery is quite a way off. I know Baz hasn't been on the trainer for a little while. He actually hasn't been out on some of our Sunday rides recently, so I'm not sure if Baz has been away. But I think he's probably back on the turbo trainer to get some fitness back more than win the race. So anyway, keep going, Baz. Make sure you finish. 900 metres to go. Andy, a relatively new rider, turning up every time though and getting some great results. It will only get better, of course. I think he said at the last one, knowing the roads because he works here, was actually a bit of a benefit because he knew when things were coming. I hope that was the same tonight, Andy, as well. Gilmore coming in next, and Harry Smits, one of the great characters from the Netherlands. As ever, always a pleasure to see Harry in the races. We love having him on board. There's great characters at the back here. Canada's, I don't really know what Canada, but certainly Jessica and Maria Witsky fit into that category too. Maria Witsky is next up. She's going to win the ladies' race again. So that will actually give her a good platform to get on the podium in the ladies' championship this time around. It should be interesting. Ladies' lead does count on your best 6 results. So however well you do, if you get 6 100s, you can win it. We'll have to have a tiebreaker. I've always thought that if we do have 2 ladies who both win 6, bear in mind there's 13 races, it's possible. I would do it the lady who got the who entered the most races. So always worth turning up. Harry Smith's coming in there in 39th, and here's Maria, and this will be, I think, her second win of the series. So she will rejoice in that. And Baz Mystery coming up to congratulate her or to steal a point. Which do you think? It's go on, Baz. Just sit behind. Be kind. No, he's not going to, is he? 200 metres to go. Baz, back from a bit of an absence, decides that he's going to empty the tank in the last 300 metres and steal a place from Maria. How cruel is that? Jessica back, 1.2 kilometres still to go. Maria's not giving up. Look, she's going to go and overtake him, isn't she? She's a fighter, isn't she? And Baz has suddenly woken up to what's happening, realises that he's not going to actually do it. Well done, Maria. What fantastic. Sorry, Baz, I know you're probably going to sneer at me when you see me for laughing, but well done, Maria. That was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I just assumed Baz had stolen the place from you, and you said, nope, that's not happening, I'm having that back. And Canada is next up. We see some more results come up. Thierry Lafitte, we mentioned at 34th before. Sean Lavelle, 35th, and Brett Smith, 36th. 37, Andy Evans. Sean Lavelle says F after that. I'm not sure about that. I'm assuming that Sean Lavelle is not a female rider and there's something wrong with the... or maybe that's from... I don't know. That's... we'll have to look into that one. Andy Evans, 37th after Brett Smith. Robert Gilmore, Harry Smits, Maria Witsky, Baz Mystery, 41st. Canada going to come in at 42nd. Quite a regular rider here. Actually, I think I've just been told the F for Sean Laville is category for another race, so don't worry about that. A bit confusing because you had M and F between Thierry Lafitte and Sean Laville, which sounds like it means male and female, but I'm being corrected. They're apparently categories for different races. Baz Mystery in 41st, just being overtaken at the last by Maria Witsky. We'll have to tease Baz about that on Sunday when we see him at the club ride, because he probably just went a little bit too early there. He'll learn from it. He's hasn't had a smart trainer for years, so it's all kind of in relative terms newer to Baz than some of the other riders who've been doing this for a lot longer. And Canada's now just got 220, just about 200 metres to go now. Jessica, another 200 metres behind, which will round things off at 43 finishers, which I think, certainly in terms of missing British riders tonight, will take, given the hot weather that we're enjoying here and the sunshine. It's I'm sure it's more sunny outside than it even looks on that screen. Well done, Canada. Here's Jessica, and we always enjoy watching Jessica finish. She's getting very close to the finish now, just 200 metres, and she'll take a little bit of applause as she goes through this section of the crowd that are cheering her outside the little West London tent. You can see the barriers coming up now, and the finishing line will follow. And after Jessica crosses the line, we can focus on how it all worked out. David Buckley's still sitting on the line. That's a tradition that we did in the old days when we first started it. Let's have a look at the top 10. Well done, David Buckley, by the way. We're holding up traditions. Casper Hedenham with one of the great finishes you'll see in this series. Alistair McAlpine will be disappointed not to get the win, but he will take the points. That consolidates his position. I didn't see yet Snaver finish, so I don't know what went wrong there. Maybe we need to check that again. Wouter Clays sat up, let the other two duke it out. Wouter Clays, one of the great riders, as is Jorgen van Beurs for Ratio Racing, who took Jan van Ordenad at 5th, Johan Olofsson 6th, Marino Cecchino, one of the two ADR riders, finishing 7th, great finish. Sam Josh, who's becoming a bit of a star in this, we'll have to watch out for him, taking a very good 8th place ahead of Lucia Verost. And Stevie Cooper settling for 10th, but I think Stevie will be well happy with that. Glasgow United, 2 riders in the top 10 in a race where we have to say R3R and Glasgow United starred. Well done Ratio Racing as well, though. Jorgen van Beurs taking that 4th spot. So some of the big teams doing very, very well on a race that has its own characteristics. And I think some people will be quite pleased that the weather conditions and summer holidays and things probably gave them a good sort of boost up the standings. Now, if you want to see the standings, go to www.westlondoncycling.com. The standings will be up there almost immediately after the race. It won't take very long for them to be up there, quicker than I can publish them. But there will be a repeat of this video and a link to that repeat. There will be reports, results, standings and analysis on westlondoncycling.com very shortly, in a few hours' time. Don't forget, Chase the Yellow is coming up in July. You saw the advert for it, and I'm sure Damon will put another advert for that on shortly. It looks really interesting, and I have to say I was looking at some of the routes on there just before the race started, and there's some great climbs on there. Ones I've done in real life as well. So I think it looks absolutely fascinating. Here's the advert, and you can see some of the. You'll see it illustrates some of the. See, look. Avranches de Mont Saint-Michel. Okay, that's not a great mountain climb, but it's a great place to ride. She also ran to Sisteron, and what have we got here? Alpe d'Huez. I mean, everybody knows Alpe d'Huez, and 21 nasty bends and nasty bits in between. Sisteron there, which is obviously a loop. Here we're Albertville to Charles les Eaux, which is obviously again in the Alps. Mont Ventoux, legendary. These are great stages. This is 6, it's 9 in all. Salon is next, and look, they're shortened. You're not going to have to do the whole length of Mont Vernier, which I think is in the Eastern Alps, I would say, and Versailles to Paris, which will be dead plan flat as that goes along the Seine Valley. Now, if that isn't worth putting in your diary, nothing is. So make sure you're in Chase the Yellow during the month of July. We thank ZMS as ever for putting this together for us and letting everybody share the excitement of these West London VR races. Thanks very much for that, Damon. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time when things will get even more exciting, I'm sure. All these courses are different, so you get different races every time. Hillingdon Honey didn't quite pan out how I would have predicted, but it nevertheless dished up the goods again. What a finish, Casper Hedenham. Bad luck, Alistair, but still in the hunt for the overall. Stay with us. See you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.